All right, welcome everyone. This is George once more from the GATS program. Um, Today I'll be doing the lab, application development, storing application data in cloud data store. We have the Python, Java, and Node.js version. I'll be using the Python version. Okay, so first of all, you open this in a private window. I've done that already, so let me click on that, and then you log in with the credentials that that you used to sign up for the program and that you used on the Plural site. Okay, so most of us have been complaining about this particular lab. In fact, any lab that has to do with using the cloud editor, the cloud editor is faulty. So I will show you how to use a terminal. Okay, to do that. Okay, so let's quickly start this lab. Okay, hopefully my internet will cooperate. Let me refresh this page because it's not working. Okay, let me start the lab again. Okay, so let me copy the password and then click on Open Google Console. Click on Next, and then pasting the password. Okay, so the cloud editor gives you access to the same location that the cloud shell does. Okay, so when you bring in the code using the Git tool, basically you are placing it in a location that is accessible to both the cloud shell and of course cloud editor. Okay, so but we'll try out the cloud editor here. If it doesn't work, then we'll go on to using the cloud shell using either Vim or using Nano editor. So let me increase the size of this. Font size is medium. I don't know whether medium it's okay. I hope large will be too large. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so first of all, we create a Python virtual environment called VRENV. Okay, so that's what that command does. Okay. All right, so that's been created. If you do a list, you see the environment there. That's the one here. Okay, then we source that in order to activate it. Okay, so once it's activated, you will see this to the left. Okay. All right, so prepare the quiz application. So we clone this repository. Okay, so the essence of using a Python environment is that any module installations, any commands concerning the your current application will be done within the confines of that virtual environment. So it is very possible to have a different version of Python on your system and then have a different version installed in your virtual environment. Okay. Okay. All right, so let's create a link. Let me zoom in a bit. Okay. Okay, so what this does is create a soft link from this path and call it this. Okay, so what this means is that if I change into this directory, then I'll be taken all the way from here down to here. Okay, it saves you typing. Okay, instead of doing several change directory commands to get into a particular location, you simply create a link It's possible both on Windows and Linux, and then you use that link to access whatever location. So let me clear the screen here. Okay, do a list. Okay, so we have a folder quiz, a requirement.txt file, and a run_server.py file. So if you want to see what you want to be able to discern what is what in this current location, whether it's a file or a directory, just pass the -f option to the list command, and anything that is a directory will have a / put after the name of the directory. Okay, so let's export this value. This value can be found, okay, in our shell, because that's stored there when the project is provisioned. Okay, so we're going to store the value of this variable as gcloud project and export that. Exporting it makes it available to any sub processes that may be created from anything on a process that you're running. Okay, so let's install the requirements, the application dependencies. Let's do this. Let's run this. Okay, all right, so run that. Go while that is running, then we run the application. Okay, so it's done. Let me clear the screen one more time. Okay, then hit that. All right, so come here. No, not here. Here, hit this. All right, so that's the quiz, that's the application. Okay, then let's click on create question. Create question, click on this. It gives us that page. Okay, so click tests and take tests. Okay, then you click GCP. Okay, click GCP, and that's the tests you should have been taking. Okay, so okay, to return, click on quick interesting quiz, and we'll go back to the home page. Okay, examine the quiz application code. Okay, so you can use the shell editors that are installed on the shell, such as Nano or Vim, or the Cloud Shell editor. I think most of you went for the Cloud Shell editor. Okay, so that isn't working. So the other options are Nano and Vim. I use Vim, but Nano is easier to use, at least for beginners. Okay, let's try the Cloud Shell. Let's Cloud editor, please. Okay, open a new window. Let's click on that. Let's see if it works. Okay. Okay, so the lab is for 2 hours, no score. So you only get a complete score for completing the lab, I believe. So let's hold on and see if the cloud editor would work. If it doesn't, then we will use the shell editors available to us. So let me check this. Still not doing what's expected. Let me open this. Okay, let's not waste our time here. Let's go back to the terminal. Okay, so this is running. Okay, so I would okay, this will require us to examine this file. So let's see if we will examine this file. Let me go here. I want to open a new shell. Let me open this. Okay, so while we leave the application running, let me export that this value again. Okay, so let me put this and export it. Okay, so that's exported, so that we can use that value in that shell. Okay, so we are looking at data. Okay, navigate to Datastore stats. Okay, so let's do a list. Okay, so we go to Datastore stats. Okay, and do a list. Okay, so we have our directories there, and select this file. The file contains the entry point for the application. We can do a cut run. All right. Okay, so let me use let me use nano run. Right, so from quiz import the app quiz and then run the app. Okay, on port 8080. Okay, so that's good. Vim didn't have a very good. To exit from here, you do Control X on your keyboard. Let me use Vim and see if I get a good. Okay, it's better. All right, it's okay. So quits. To get out of Vim, you simply do Shift colon or Shift colon and then type Q, hit enter, and you would leave that window. Okay, let me pause my notifications, please. Okay, so let's look at the init.py file. It's in the quiz folder. So let's do a list so we know where we are. So let's do Vim quiz. Sorry, you can do VI or Vim, whichever one. Okay. Let me see that file again. Sorry. Okay, under init. Okay, this. All right. Okay, so here we registered this URL prefix for URL. That means any URL that it's accessed will need to have /API added to it. Okay, so we're using Blueprints for that. It's a Flask application. Okay, so select quiz, web app questions, and quick web's routes. Those files contain the routes that map URIs to handlers that display. So let's look at just one, questions.py. The other one, you can take your time to look at it. So inside this folder quiz, there's another folder called web app. So we could open, okay, so let's do this one, quiz, web app, and it's called question, right? Okay, all right, so all right, okay, so that's the question. Then let's look, okay, let's look at the routes file. So do shift colon E, then you type quiz web app routes, right? Okay, all right, so these are the routes. Okay, we have /client, we have /client with a path, we have question /add, and the methods accepted there are get and post. This is one of them. This is another one. Okay, so there are just about 3 URLs there. Okay, so view the templates. Okay, these templates is used to render application page, and it uses Ginger language templates. Okay, so that's that. Let's go on to, just take your time to look through all what you each and every one of those files to understand the code. Okay, so in this section we write code to save data in Cloud Data Store. So return to Cloud Shell and stop the application. Okay, so we've been asked to stop the application. Let's get out of here. Shift colon Q, quit. Okay, so if we go back here, this has already disconnected. Let's reconnect. All right, so we'll create an application. Okay, so and that application will be created in region US Central. Okay, so let's do okay, so let's paste that one. Okay, so that's happening. So create an app engine instance. Each project has just one instance. Then you can create different versions of that instance. Okay, so that is running. We now open up this file and make some changes. Okay, all right, so that's done. So what we do is quiz file is quiz GCP Datastore. So we have vim quiz GCP Datastore. Okay, all right, so the red font color I don't like. Okay, so we go to the first one, which is just under import OS, the OS library. We will add this. We'll get the environmental variable gcloud underscore project, which we set previously. So let's go back to the top. Not here, we're far from it, so go back to the top. Okay, import OS module. So to be able to edit in Vim, you press the I on your keyboard, and that means insert. So here we say import OS. Okay, so that's done. Then we get the environmental variable. Let's see, save it to a variable called project ID. So project underscore ID os.get env. Let me be sure about that. Get env gcloud project. Okay, so this gcloud project. Okay, this was set in our terminal. If you don't have that set, then you would definitely get an error. Then here from Flask library, import a current app. Okay, so that's done already. Then under there, we now import the Datastore module from the gcloud package. Okay, so gcloud.cloud import Datastore. Okay, so we go down to do here. Okay, from small letters, from gcloud.cloud import Datastore. All right, so gcloud.cloud import Datastore. Then we create a Cloud Datastore client object. That's it. Imported Datastore here, so we'll create a client object from it. Okay, so Datastore client, datastore.client project ID. Okay, so let's go down. Datastore client, Datastore client equals to Datastore dot client and project ID. All right, so Datastore, let's check and be sure. Datastore underscore this is a client project ID, and write code to create a Datastore entity. Okay, so after that we will save that file. Okay, no. Okay, still in this that particular file, move to the save question function. Okay, so let me escape. Escape puts me back in the command mode of Vim. Then I do a search. I want to go to save question. So let me use this to find it. Okay, and that's it. I found it. Okay, so if you want to edit, say you're above this line, you want to edit, hit the O key on your keyboard and it moves to the second line and enters into the insert mode for Vim. Okay, so we are in this function and this is Python, of course, so indentation has to be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we start from there. Okay, so use a Datastore client object to create a key for a Datastore entity whose kind is question. Use Datastore to create a Datastore question entity with the key. Iterate over the items in the dictionary of values supplied from the web application form. In the body of the loop, assign each key and value to the Datastore entity object. Use the Datastore client to save the data. Okay, so let's go on. We are here. So we create this. We create a key, Datastore underscore client key and question. What did we call it? Key. Okay, Datastore client key. Okay, so we call it key equal to Datastore client.key question. Okay, all right, so a key, and then we create a Datastore entity. So Datastore entity key is this. Okay, Q entity. So let's go down. Q and entity Datastore dot let me check that out. Dot entity, then that's dot entity key is equal to key. All right, entity. So let's be sure we're doing the right thing. Then here we iterate. Use a for loop to iterate. Okay, so let me peel off this. Makes typing easier. This has disconnected, but we can just close that one. Makes typing easier for us. Oh no, wow, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, all right, so go down. Okay, so iterate. Okay, that's still inside that function. So okay, all right, so we do for Q entity Q property and Q value in question dot items. Okay, question dot items. We go down here. Okay, Q entity Q underscore prop Q underscore value. Okay, and then we save that using put. So Let's make sure data store the underscore client output qntt. All right, so okay, and then save. So first thing you do, hit the escape key on your keyboard. It takes you back into the Vim command mode. Then you do shift colon and X. Okay, X saves and quits. All right, so run the application. Okay, we need to be in the right folder. Hopefully we are. Save this and let's see if we have the run file in that location. We do. So we do Python 3 and we do run. Okay, if there's an error, yes, there is. No module called name gcloud. So let's go back to this. Okay, so let's just go back to the top. Okay. Perhaps I didn't import that from gcloud.cloud. Okay, let me go back and check. No. No. Imported this from Google, not gcloud, sorry. All right, so this should be Google. So to change that word, you do CW and you say Google. Okay, and then escape shift colon X. Okay, and let's clear the screen once more and then let's run that server again. All right, so now it runs. Let me return it here. Okay, and then let's check it out here. It's here already. We'll just refresh that one, but let's do this one. All right, so we're good to go. All right, so now click on create question. Create question. Put your name there. Okay, and quiz is platform. Title of the quiz is title is which, take this one, copy and paste that there. The first answer option is Amazon. The next one is Google, and of course you select the radio button here. Third one is IBM. Okay, and the last one is Microsoft. Okay, and click save. Okay, that's been saved. All right, so go to Datastore and we would see that. All right, so I'll leave that to you to go check it out in the okay, let's do that at once, but go here and click on this, go down, databases, Datastore entities. Okay, this is in entities. I'll give it a minute. Okay, close this one. Okay, so it's there, and there you go. All right. So Datastore has what they refer to as entities, and then of course these entities have different values, like you would have on a relational database. Okay, so Datastore entity, one of the entities you have is this one. Okay, all right. So let's retrieve cloud data store entities. In this section, you write code to retrieve entity data from cloud data store to view your questions in the application. Okay, so we open this, remove the lists function and replace it with a query. Okay, that retrieves question entities for a specific quiz from. It uses data store client to fetch the query and uses the return data to create a list, enumerate the list of items and promote each entity's key identifier to top level property and return the result. So we have this in that file. Let me peel this. Oh, that's not what I wanted to peel off. Let me return this. Let me peel this one off. Let's reconnect. Let's go up and then let me bring this one in and do this. Okay, so we have this. All right, so I will just stop the application. Okay, so that I can edit that file. Though if you do, all right, so we're looking for list entities. To do a search, hit the / and then type, hit the / on the keyboard and then type the name of the item you're trying to look for. Okay, there it is, and then hit the enter once you find it. Okay, so we want to return here. This function is returning a list of objects. Okay, so it's returning a list of objects. We want it to do differently. We wanted to make a query with the kind question. Let's go back to, okay, I removed that. Basically we're here. Okay, so if I bring this down, okay, so a kind question, okay, the kind question, and then we will put this, we'll add a filter, okay, and then change the results into a list, okay, and then run through the list and set this up. Okay, set the ID to the result.key.id, and of course if redact here is to hide the questions, the answer, I believe. Okay, so let me do this one. Okay, to return result. So let me get rid of this. In Vim, you want to get rid of a line. Just hit D twice on your keyboard and it gets rid of that, and then bring in the cursor 4 places, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's start. Query is Datastore underscore client dot query kind is question. Okay, then query dot add filter quiz all right, and then the results, put that in a list. Query dot fetch all right, that fetch. I believe I'm doing this in the wrong place. This should be under the 3 quotation marks. Okay, so we'll move that and let's just finish this. Move that. So result 4, result in results. Okay, result ID is equal to result dot key dot id. Okay, if redact for result in results delete results. Okay, let's call it correct. Okay, so if it is the answer, if that is redacted with the answer, we're hiding the answer, I believe. Then go out, return return results. Okay, so let me increase the size of this. Let me to get out of there into the command mode, hit the escape key, the shift colon Q for we didn't save, so shift colon W then Q. Okay, so write and then quit. I shouldn't have quit. I'm sorry about that. Shouldn't have quit. I should have just written it. So I want to move this to under this position. So let me set the number. So I want to put it at 67. Okay, so let me bring this up. All right, so I go into visual mode, hit V. Okay, I've moved my cursor. That cursor shouldn't be there. Move it to the beginning of to line 52. Hit V, and then hit V on your cursor, and then use your arrow key to move this. Okay, so I want to move it to line 67, I believe. I hope it did. It worked. Okay. It didn't work. Interesting. It didn't work. How come? Okay, let's try that again. Okay, so I missed an M, 67. No, I doubt if that's the correct syntax. Okay, all right, it is. So I have moved that, and so I want a space below what I have. Okay, so all right, so we moved that one there. Hopefully we did it right, and we'll have issues when we run the code. So escape key, Control Shift right, then Q, which is right, and quit. Okay, so let me return this here, and then let's see what we've been asked. Save and then run. Okay, so let's run the code once more and see if we did it right. We should we did. So there is definitely an error. Line 52. Okay, so let's do set number. All right, so line 52 at the top here. Okay, this should be indented, I believe. Okay, so you do shift, move your angle, right angle on your keyboard, hit it twice. Okay, you could just do a V to cover this, and then hit, and it moves it. Okay, all right, so that should be that. Okay, so let's do this. Save that and run. Okay, so it runs, and then all we need to do is to refresh this one. All right, so when we do that, we come back here, take test, come here, take test. take test GCP. All right, so take test GCP. All right, so then you can pick the answer you want. You pick this one, submit answer. Your score on what do you think? Rating 5, and then hit send feedback. All right, that hasn't been implemented, so it won't work. All right, so that's that about the lab. So basically you can use the nano editor. Okay, so we have an error because that hasn't been implemented. 500 error. API quizzes feedback this post. Okay, it's all right. So that's that for that. Okay, that hasn't been implemented. That particular part hasn't been implemented, which is this. That's why we are getting the 500 error. Okay, all right, so that's that for the lab. Let me close this. All right, so we have entities kind, which is this. Let me close this. So you will just have to use the nano or the vim editor, whichever one you choose. Nano editors are easier. Let me show you an example of that. Okay, so this is the nano editor. Let me go into my temp, change into my temp folder, and do nano demo.txt. Okay, so the thing with nano editor, it tells you what you're supposed to use to navigate and carry out basic tasks on the text you're currently editing. So the caret there is the same thing as a control. So if you wanted to exit this current window, you simply do Control X, okay, and that will exit. If you write, if I were to write something here now, okay, to write out is do Control O, and it will ask, do I want to write to this file name? Then I would do I'll hit enter, the return key, if I wanted it to. If I don't want it to, then I'll do Control C and it will cancel. So the instructions are at the bottom. Okay, the M there represents alternative, depending. You can just check that online. So, but this is easier to use, but for newcomers, but I prefer to use Vim. So let me do Control C, which cancels out, and I do Control X. Save your modified buffer. I do Shift Y, no. I did yes. Let me do it. Let me cancel that. So Shift N. So the demo.txt remains as it is. I doubt if it even exists, but let me do a list. Okay, so it doesn't exist because we didn't write to it. If we did write to it, then it will create that file and store it there. Okay, so that's that about that. So you need to use your Cloud Shell, Nano, or Vim editors. The cloud editor isn't working properly, so you have to use that. All right, thank you for watching and have a nice day. Bye bye.